Welcome to the Galaxy Man Show, everyone. For my next interview guest for 2024 is this incredible artist known by the name of Bron Music. So, everyone, please make Bron welcomed. He's Bron on the Galaxy Man Show.
Thank you so much, Bron, for taking the time to join my show. It is such an incredible pleasure having you on for tonight. To people that don't know who you are, Bron, if you can give like a bit of backstory about yourself, and then we'll dive right into the questions.
Yeah, great, cool. So I'm a Melbourne singer-songwriter, and I write contemporary folk pop music, and often turning it into a big cinematic sort of epic orchestral sounding thing with floaty ethereal vocals. And I've performed around the Melbourne scene for about 10 years, doing a lot of the venues up in the north of Melbourne, and toured my work up the east coast a little bit. And I've been, since the pandemic, I've been working online with a producer, a Canadian producer, to create these more cinematic folk pop works that I've been putting out recently.
Awesome. So we'll dive right into the questions now, Bron. So for my very first question, you've created incredible original songs, and for the first original song I'm going to mention is your song called Follow. To people that haven't heard of it, amazing song. What was it like creating Follow, and what was the meaning behind Follow?
Yeah, cool. It was a funny one, that one. The melody for that one kind of seemed to be calling to me for a long time, and I tried to I couldn't work out what lyrics to give it for a long time. It was like a melody that called to me from far away during a lot of the lockdowns in the pandemic, and I kept coming back to it again, and I just couldn't work out. And I was sort of like, it was like I was fighting with this melody, and then finally, when I gave it the lyrics kind of made it, kind of set it free a little bit. It's like it was this thing that was calling, and so the song itself is about this call to do something, call to really get away and be. For me, I love the mountains, and so all I could think of was the mountains when I was stuck at home and I couldn't get to the mountains. Um, and so this was like, it was like the feeling of having those mountains calling to me from far away. And once I wrote the lyric, I could see it was that call, that the kind of itchy feet I get to travel and get away and do things. So yeah, that's what that song was about.
So on to my very next question. So you've also created a song called No Medicine, which is another amazing song. To people that haven't heard of it, definitely go have a listen. What was it like creating No Medicine, and what's the meaning behind this one?
Yeah, uh, this one is about when life feels really messy, and you maybe you're trying to avoid the messiness of it, and by whereas if you lean in and you actually are able to just breathe into it and think, like, I can cope with these emotions, I can cope with how messy and crazy and busy life is at the moment, um and learn to just lean into it and not try and, like, we all use different means of numbing out. So we might pick up our phone and scroll through the feed, or watch TV, or ways of like not facing how we actually feel. So this was my way of telling myself that I needed to face my own feelings and get on with the hard work that I needed to do, the things that I was avoiding. Um, and yeah, creating that song, I created it on piano at first,
Okay.
singing the melody and sitting at the piano and just basically doing that work for just trying to calm myself right down, because it's a very slow one, so it really took a lot of like to play it and perform it. I have to really calm this whole system down, so it's sort of like the lyrics match what I have to do to in order to perform that one. It's interesting. Anyway, and then I added layers of different string. I play violin as well, so layers of strings to it, and worked with a producer to help add a few of the other orchestral elements to it as well.
So
Yeah.
on to my very next question. So you've also created a song called Go. which is also amazing. What was it like
Thank
creating
you.
this one? No, you're very welcome. And yeah, what was it like creating this one? And what's the meaning behind Go?
Go is we took a bit more of an acoustic angle with that one. Um, Go Go is about that when you have the desire to do something, and maybe again you block yourself and you're not allowing yourself to chase that thing. And I had a good friend who was really trapped in a particular relationship, and it was blocking her in every aspect of her life. And she finally realized it and started taking the steps she needed to take to kind of get out of that situation. And I just saw her life just kind of, take off in a different way. And I wrote these lyrics right as that was happening for her. And yeah, we went really acoustic with that one because it feels like a really primal message, and so it felt important to keep it really minimal.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
on to my very next question. So you've also created a song called "You're Not Alone," which is such a beautiful title. Like, what was it like coming up with this title, like "You're Not Alone," and what was it like creating this one? Like, what's the meaning behind "You're Not Alone"?
Yeah, You're Not Alone was one that I actually wrote quite specifically for my sister when she was going through a really tough sort of mental health battle. And it's just hard being, when you see a sibling going through something like that, and there's not necessarily much you can do for them. And so I was writing it as a means of saying to her, like, I'm here, I can be your rock, I can be there for you, and I've got my hand outstretched to you. Whenever you need, you can take it, and I'll be there for you. And yeah, it's difficult. I'm getting the spine tingles just thinking about it, because it's just tricky to work out what you can actually do for someone. They have to fight their own demons, but you can just let them know you're there as much as they need or as little as they need. That's how I write those lyrics. Yeah.
So on to my very next question. So what made you decide as a person and especially as an artist to like get into the whole singing process in the first place?
Uh, that's a really good question. I guess I came to singing through a very wobbly path. Like, singing wasn't my number one thing at the very beginning. I was completely obsessed with the sound of string instruments. As a 4-year-old, I first saw a string quartet in a food court, and I was completely mesmerized. And then from there, I ended up taking up violin. And then when I started school, I ended up taking up other instruments like piano and flute. And I just happened into the choirs. I ended up singing in all these different choirs. And from there, I became a bit more curious about singing and songwriting. And yeah, it was really when I was in my mid-teens that I started properly delving into singing and songwriting as an expressive tool. I loved how much you can express yourself, and playing violin for me ended up taking more of a side seat for me. It's now like the other tool that I bring to my songwriting, as opposed to where I thought I would take the whole orchestral route, become a violin player, but I ended up becoming more obsessed with the creation of songs. Yeah.
I have to ask, by the way, like what's your like all-time favorite instrument to play and why?
Probably the violin, actually.
Okay.
After the voice, I feel like it's almost the closest thing to the voice, because it's so personal to play. You are relying on your ear. You don't have any frets, or any keys or any buttons to push. You're relying on your ear to work out where your finger needs to go. So I feel like you end up so connected to that instrument. I've always said that if I have to leave my house and it's burning down, then the one thing that I'll grab is my violin if I can, because I'm connected to it. To me, it's like I've got this personal connection, me and my violin. So yeah.
So on to my very next question. So what's it like performing as an artist? Like when you're performing as an artist, like what does performing mean to you? Like what does performing mean to you?
Performing to me is all about the main thing I want to get from performing is to connect with other people. I just think it's about processing life, and for me, it helps me process life. And so I like the messages that I get from music, I hope to convey to people that listen. And I just love, live performance is great in terms of being able to get that immediate, visual on how people are engaging with your music, engaging with your songs. And I love performing my songs, performing original music, and seeing how it can move other people too. Yeah.
Awesome. So on to my very next question. So if you could work with any top 3 music artists in the music industry, like who would you want to work with and why?
Mm. I love, so Oliver Arnolds is a producer in Iceland, and he creates such beautiful. I'm very inspired by his sound, and he often works with a range of different singers too. And so I'd love to work with him from a production point of view. Also, I like. There's another singer called Aurora, who I love, who she toured in Australia a few years back, and she's so outside of the box. I'm so into people that choose to think a little bit outside of the box, a little bit. How can we do things a little bit differently, and just the freedom to just be completely yourself and not feel like you have to be doing what someone else is doing. I think she's great at that. She's sort of so expressive in the way that she creates things. I'd love to work with her. And yeah, I'm also I really love, there's a Danish artist called Agnes Obel who writes really beautiful like folk music. It's really lovely folk music. So I'd love to meet her, work with her too.
Awesome. So on to my very next question. For you. So as an artist, like when you're touring, any dream destination that you would like to tour to, and why as an artist?
Yes, I would love to tour to Canada. I feel like so the producer I work with, his name's Glenn, and he's from Canada. He is always sharing these amazing visuals of the Canadian landscape with me, and I just think it's such a beautiful country. And I've also just happened for some reason I've happened to have a lot of Canadian listeners, which is lovely. I don't know. It might be through working through him with him, but yes, I'd love to go there, and I speak French, so it'd be cool to go to the French-speaking part of Canada. So, yeah, love to see how I go. They've got quite a different accent there, though, so I don't know how I'd go with that. It'd be fun to try.
Yes. So on to my very next question for you. So, like, what advice would you give to your younger self? Like, looking back over your time in the music industry career, like, what would your number one advice be for your younger self if you could speak to your younger self, and why?
I think the main thing that I'd say is to don't try as much to try and fit in with a vibe, fit in with, or try so much to figure out where you need your music to be fitting. I feel like I was trying to write music to make it sound in a particular way, whereas I feel like I've now finally accepted it's like I will just write the music and work out where it fits afterwards. I think that would be the main thing I'd let my younger self know. Just write and then work out where it fits afterwards.
So on to my very next question. So to any upcoming artists that want to get into like singing, like what advice would you give them and why?
I think it's really important to make sure you do get some singing lessons to make sure that you are not going to harm your voice in any way. So having really good technique is an important one, and that can be in any style that you want to do. You just find the right teacher, the one that's got this sound, knows about the sound that you want to create. So always be seeking, when you have been with one teacher, seek that teacher. You might find that you need time to move and seek another teacher because your sound is changing or your ideas of what you want to do is changing. But having those mentors and guides early in your career is really super helpful and super super important, I think, in terms of the longevity of your ability to keep singing and keep going with it all. Yeah.
So on to my very next question. So what are like the positive and negative side into the music industry, and how do you get through those like negative moments as an artist?
I'll start with the negative. So negative can be, there's a lot of, it can be a lot of pressure in terms of, I feel like there's a lot of pressure in terms of image, and there's a lot of pressure in terms of just having eyes upon you can make you feel, it makes you question like exactly how you want to be portraying yourself, and you can overthink in that respect. Where I think it's important to try and just be you, and trying to figure that out can be quite a complex and difficult. And I found it quite a difficult thing at times in terms of not getting tied into overjudging myself, overthinking things, trying to figure out, as I was saying before, trying to figure out too much where my music's going to fit, what genre am I making, or am I in on the scene, or those sorts of things. And so I think just be yourself. Your life is your life, and your experiences are important. So that's the negative. And the positive, I think, is kind of comes out of the negative there, in terms of like it's such a fantastic expressive tool for processing, your life and processing where you're going, and showing others that it's okay to be completely in your own process. So yeah.
Awesome. So on to my very next question. So like, what's next for you music-wise? Like anything coming up for 2024 goal-wise or anything like that?
Yeah, I've got about, I think I've got 10 songs coming this year. So
Okay.
there's a lot coming. And first one's coming in early Feb. So
Okay.
that's sort of the last of a sequence of 4 that I've been working on. So this last one sort of wraps up that little bunch of songs, and then I've got another little EP, another sequence of 4 starting as of March. Hoping to play a few more gigs locally, and looking into doing some gigs in interstate as well. And we'll just see where we end up from there.
Awesome.
Go, go, go on. Hackles up upon your back, telling you to change your tack. Cloaked up in your misery, there hides a glow that I can see. For in your heart's a burning flame, and to put it out would be a shame. Your truth, it cannot be disguised without a kind of compromise. Go deep, go deep. You know what you need. Go, go, go on. Let courage lead the way. Run, run, run. Don't look the other way. Stay the path that you were shown would be safer than the great unknown. But if you leave it up to fate, the price you pay is much too great. So roll the dice and take your turn. I'm sure there's something more to learn.
just want to say thank you so much to Bron for taking the time to join my show last night on the Galaxy Man Show. It was such an incredible pleasure having Bron on the show last night. Whoever's not following Bron Music, definitely go give her one amazing follow and support on Instagram. You can check out Bron Music on Instagram. She's from Melbourne, Australia, and she's such an incredible artist and really inspiring. So definitely go give Bron one amazing support and get behind more artists like Bron one. So yeah, go support Bron Music and yeah, give her a follow.